Meeting the Crowned Prince, from my novel The Chests Mystery Deliverance. Vladek, L'Oreal, and Dovry had almost reached the foot of the gigantic stronghold. It was located on a huge icy rock, on which there were steps carved to the main gate above. Numerous metal supports were struck into the rock, apparently helping the massive structure to hold on without collapsing. In general, the stronghold, the mere presence of which seemed to press on living beings from the outside and from the inside at the same time, had a pronounced shape, although it was built mainly of stones and metal plates, diverging and converging sharp corners. The structure also had smaller towers and windows, the numbers of which were not significant, but they were still present even at a height where the eye could not see them. L'Oreal touched her wounded ear and said softly, "What a strange, painfully familiar feeling. Pressing and constraining darkness, melancholy, despair. This tower seems to resemble an inverted, upright coffin. Death itself emanates from it." "Yes, I also feel something similar," said Vladek, looking up. "I think all this is not without a reason. Now we can definitely be sure that the construction of the stronghold has been completed in order to make terrible desires come true. We need to get to the gate, but not by going up the main staircase. We should climb this icy rock. It will be difficult, but they will hardly notice us this way, and we will be able to catch the enemy by surprise," the old lady suggested.
"It seems to me that this is unreasonable. I'm sure that the enemy has long known that we entered the capital, so there is no point in hiding. We will only waste our time,"
said Dovry. "I agree. First, we need to get to Asmund's attention. The best way to do this is by entering through the front door," said Vladek, heading for the icy steps. That was just what the three friends did. They climbed the stairs hollowed out in the ice, and the higher they ascended, the more the pain throbbed in L'Oreal's ear. "We're close. We must be close," she said.
"What is it over there?"
asked Dovry, pointing in the direction of the visible gate when they passed the halfway mark. Indeed, there was something on the ice platform in front of the gate. 3 silhouettes. "These are Asmund!" exclaimed L'Oreal, and she ran upstairs at full speed. "Hey, wait! Don't go!" shouted the Dagger Master and rushed after the elk lady.
"And why on earth I told them?"
sighed the dwarf, who had no other option but to run after his friends. "It's him! It's definitely him!" L'Oreal kept repeating in her thoughts on a loop. Thanks to her determination, she was the first to reach the very top, the gate to a gigantic tower, and "Asmund," she whispered, looking at the back of a man who had a crown with protruding sharp teeth on his head. Next to the chosen one of the chests, dressed in all black, there were 2 more, but L'Oreal did not pay attention to them. "Leave us alone. Head to the heaven ground. I will catch up with you later," said the Crown Prince to those standing nearby. Their bodies, as well as their faces, were not visible to the elk lady, as both of them were dressed in fur cloaks with hoods thrown over. They obeyed and, opening the gate, disappeared inside the stronghold. A piercing cold wind blew. The chosen one continued to stand still, only his cloak fluttered in the wind. "Asmund, I've been waiting so long, said L'Oreal in a trembling voice. "Who is this Asmund you are talking about?" asked the Crown Prince. But he is..." L'Oreal did not finish. Skeletal claws shattered the ice she stood on. If Vladek had not arrived in time to pull her aside, the elf lady would already be dead. "Heck, pull yourself together!" Vladek got angry with L'Oreal. She whispered, horrified at what she saw. "But how is this possible?" The crowned prince still stood motionless, but 2 skeletal arms protruded from his back. With a devilish crunch, each of their bones trembled in anticipation of the fight.
"Is this really Asmund?"
Dovry was stunned when he saw his friend and what happened to him. The prince grinned and finally honored those who came by showing his face. At last, false saviors, you have come. You have shown yourselves before me. And now, your death will come for you, your untimely end, said the crowned prince in anticipation. Half of his face was already hidden by the outgrowths of the crown, which formed some kind of strange helmet. The crowned prince leaped at the enemies. "Watch out!" shouted Dovry, having managed to reflect the blow of skeletal claws, thereby protecting Vladek and L'Oreal. The dwarf immediately went on the offense, carrying out mostly sweeping horizontal strikes.
"I'm sorry, Asmund, but you're not yourself. Don't worry, I will knock all the nonsense out of your head and return you to your normal state in no time,"
said the dwarf, encouraging himself on. Dovry swung well and carried out a roundhouse attack, but the enemy easily blocked his axe.
"What?"
the dwarf cried out before he was thrown back. "Dovry!" exclaimed the dagger master, with his attention on his friend. He did not notice the attacking crowned prince. This time L'Oreal saved him, piercing the skeletal structure of huge claws and blocking the blow with her rapier. Without releasing the skeletal bombs, she gazed into the prince's eyes. This is not Asmund, she understood. This is not his gaze. Knitting her eyebrows, L'Oreal kicked her opponent away with a scream. He performed a backflip and landed easily on his feet. If you have forgotten us, even yourself, take off your hideous metal glove and take a look at the ring that father gave you to remember him and the promises you made, exclaimed L'Oreal. I am very well aware of your cunning tricks, and am not going to be fooled by them, snapped the prince. I am the chosen one of the chests, and the crown on my head is a proof of that. I will reach my destiny, fulfill my duty, for this is the true will. His pupils trembled, and he rushed into battle, aiming at the elf lady. Vladek closed the distance to the enemy with a sharp jerk and hit him in the stomach with his elbow, knocking the breath out of the crowned prince. Whose will? Answer me! Demanded the dagger master. Will. The will of the great, invisible, omnipresent. I will imprison the whole world. I will lock it with the key of eternal peace, proclaimed the chosen one in a distorted voice, and raised both bane claws up, intending to crush the enemy. Having reacted in time, Vladek dodged the daring blow and counterattacked with his daggers. He delivered 2 thrusting strikes, both of which were blocked by a single skeletal claw. The second one carried out an attack from below with inconceivable strength and speed, hitting the dagger master in the chest and pushing him back. Vladek was caught by Dovry and L'Oreal. If the world is to be plunged into an era of death, then no one will be able to avoid it, shouted the elf lady before the 3 friends attacked at once. Dovry, having performed tackle, carried out a swing with an axe, aiming at the enemy's legs. Vladek and L'Oreal switched places. Now the elf lady attacked the enemy's forehead with a thrusting blow from the rapier. The dagger master came in from the left, aiming at the crown with his tips of his knives. However, even the joint efforts of 3 experienced warriors were not enough to inflict any serious injury to the crowned prince. In a split second, the chosen one managed to transfer the weight of the whole body to one side and lean only on the right skeletal arm. Thus, he managed to avoid the blow of Dovry's axe. The crown prince repulsed the attacks of L'Oreal and Vladek with his left bone claw. With a shout, he threw away 2 attackers at once so hard that they flew straight into the steps leading down. During the short fall, Vladek managed to cradle and protect L'Oreal. The severity of the blow was absorbed by the armor of the dagger master. Even so, Vladek's head was still hard against the ice, and the blood gushed from his forehead. Hey, are you okay? The old lady asked, worry trembling in her voice. Yeah, I'm fine thanks to the armor. Did you get hurt? Asked Vladek, getting up and with difficulty. No, thanks to you. The elf lady helped her friend up, and seeing Dovry in a bad situation, rushed to help him. The crown prince struck with a hail of blows with otherworldly speed and precision. He was literally inexorable and untouchable. The dwarf only managed to block the enemy's attacks. There was no room for any maneuver or counterattack. The chosen one of the chests seemed to have predicted or even known all the techniques of his enemies in advance, and therefore there were practically no flaws in his movements. I must take him by surprise, thought L'Oreal, as she approached the prince from behind. This is the only way to defeat him. Seeing L'Oreal, Dovry harnessed all his willpower and seized the second opportunity while the crown prince performed a swing. The dwarf deftly twisted the axe in his hand so that the counterweight at the end of the shaft was aimed at the enemy. Pushing himself off, Dovry struck the prince with a metal knob directly in the stomach, pushing him into L'Oreal's rapier aimed at the crown. However, even after such a seemingly serious shock, the Chosen One did not lose his vigilance. In just a split second, he reduced the sizes of his skeletal arms, sucking them back into his back through the stigmata. Thanks to this contraction and lightning-fast reaction, the prince managed to flip his arms back at the last moment and grab L'Oreal's blade. She did not even realize what had happened. The crowned prince released the blade from one hand, and with a sharp swing from the other, he put L'Oreal, still holding the hilt together, in front of him. No matter how hard she tried, she could not pull the rapier out of the grip of the skeletal claw. "You will die first," the crowned prince said with a cold indifference, hauntingly looking at L'Oreal. His left bone hand, tearing through the flesh, appeared from behind in all its terrifying massiveness and rose above the defenseless L'Oreal. However, the elf lady's gaze remained locked on the cold face of the crowned prince, and the whole world around them seemed to slow down, or even freeze. "Esmond," she whispered, tears rolling down her cheeks. You always blame me for what happened. Maybe I really deserve to die at your hands." L'Oreal loosened her grip and released the rapier, ready to accept her fate.